What fantasy world is complete without magic items? Now, Rick has included several magic items already in the main rulebook, but what about some other magic item ideas? Today we're going to talk about some that I've come up with, so stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome to today's video. This is, I guess, a long time coming. I've always liked the idea of magic items in Warlords of Erehwon. We rarely use them though. I mean, they're not... Okay, well, right out of the gate, the way Rick Priestley built these, he purposefully made them so they're not point efficient. Because remember, when you take a ranged or melee weapon as your magic item, you lose all other melee or ranged weapons you have. So if you have a lance and a sword, and let's do that, knight, lance and a sword. You give him a magic sword, he no longer has a lance. You give him a magic lance, he does not have a sword. You're giving up something, okay? So, yeah, you may get some really cool perks from the magic item, but you lose some options, okay? You lose spears, for example, as well. So if you had a unit with halberds and spears and swords, you loses all of those except the magic item. Again, these are... You have to give these to one of your hero characters, so it's either your mage, your hero, your champion, or your warlord. So some of these have units. Your warlord and your wizard can have units, and one, your one model will lose any of its other weapons available to it, which could be good, could be bad, but. The thing is, you paid for those in the point cost of the unit itself. You paid for the sword and the lance, let's say, for the knight, right? You don't get those points back, but you have to pay more points for the new magic item. And the new magic item costs more than if it were you just bought those special rules and strike values bare, that's the way he did it, and I kind of agree with that. Yeah, it makes sense to me because Warlords of Erehwon is more about the story and the events that happen on the table than it is competitive, win-loss ratios. I know some players might want to do that, but even Rick has stated in several places, this is not designed for tournament play. It's designed to have fun, to let you play with the models you've got sitting on the shelf from game systems long past, and get them on the table and play with them again. So magic items are a great little addition to add flavor, if not necessarily being a point-efficient way to min-max your units. So, now, Rick did a good job coming up with several options. We're not going to cover them. They're in the rule book. You can review them yourselves. And I like them. They're all good. But you know what? They're limited. They're just magic weapons, and they just do certain things. When I look at other fantasy franchises, whether they're book series, movie series, games, video games, I see other magic weapons or magic items that have a little more flavor to them, that can do other things. And it'd be kind of cool if, on the table, maybe some of those things can be represented. So, let's take a look at my list of magic items. Pardon the glasses again. Most of these are actual items, as opposed to, I do have some weapons, but let's just start with the, now you know what, we will start with the weapons, because that's what we're used to, okay? So, I'm going to make a couple points here. Remember, you don't get the points back for the weapons you had. So, the example I use in my material that I've posted out on a Facebook group I've got is, if you paid the 5 points, or was it 4 points for a longbow, and you get a magic longbow, you don't get those 4 points back. So you've paid 4 points plus, let me show you the math, because the first one I've got here is the longbow of lightning, okay? Essentially, the effect on mine is it shoots and it's electrical discharge. The arrow strikes its target with a discharge of lightning. Maybe it's the arrow itself is on fire, or is electrically charged, or it's a lightning bolt that shoots from the bow to hit. But here's the thing: it is a 30-inch range. Looks just like a longbow. 0 to 10 is short. 10 to 30 is long range. But it has a strike value of 4, much like the max for a lightning strike spell. Now here's the thing: when you use Rick Priestley's ability, his list of to figure out points, you pay 1 point per inch for 10 inches of range. So a 30-inch longbow is 3 points, and then 1 for strike value per strike value. So a longbow is +1, so their strike value is 1, range 30. A longbow is 4 points. When you look at those numbers and you compare them to what magic items are here, really the magic items are just stronger, either longer range or stronger strike value. Most weapons are maybe maxed out at 6 or 7 points total. I mean, but you're paying 10 or more points in the book, so you're always paying a premium for the magic. So here, for 10 points, you get a longbow that can do a strike value of 4. It's called Longbow of Lightning. The next one is Longbow of Fate. Now, I thought this was kind of cool, and it was inspired kind of by the ability that used to be in the old Warhammer Warlords, Warlord unit. They had a special ability that at the start of the game, that before anything else happens, they fire an arrow into the enemy. The whole theory was that was the signal to start the attack, and it was always targeting the opponent's warlord. So you get this free long range shot. I mean, you're literally across the table. That's 48 inches away or 40 something. So that's great. Let's have this Longbow of Fate. So it's a really long range. It has a 60-inch range. So 0 to 20 is short, 20 to 40 is long, 40 to 60 is extreme. Kind of like artillery would be. It has a strike value 2, so 1 better than a regular longbow, but its accuracy is +1. Kind of like swords have a +1 strength. Well, here's accuracy +1. So this costs a total of 10 points. Now, all of that together, if you put all those units, weapon abilities together in Rick Priestley's cost sheet, it only comes to 9. But again, the way he does magic items, in the spirit of the way he does things, it's a 10-point weapon. Then I did the Maul of Dread Death. Excuse some of the names; they may not be neat. They're just what I come up with. I'm not good at naming stuff. An impressive maul that exudes an evil malevolence that is palpable to those who face it. So what this does is it's basically a massive mace with strike value 2. But if a unit is hit by the weapon, it receives an additional D3 pins. Kind of like the howling ammunition for the undead have. But this also affects undead. Note that it is not inflicted more than once per close combat. So regardless of the number of times you score a hit with this, you only do that pin bonus once. So you get, if you killed a certain number of models in the close combat, obviously each one of those is a pin, and then you just do an additional D3 pins to the unit. Now, in this case, I had to clarify, the close combat is defined as a single engagement between units, including both the initial and follow-on combat. So if you attacked, did damage, did the D3 pins, and then either of you decided to do a follow-on combat, you wouldn't do another D3 pins. That's just ridiculous. That's way too much. But going in with this huge maul and smashing through and putting fear into the unit, that's kind of cool. But it's a 15-point magic weapon. So again, kind of cool. Now, why do weapons have to always be warrior things? Why can't a wizard have a magic staff? So here are some magic staves. Now remember, a regular staff is a +1 strength and no strike value. That's what a regular staff can do. So a club or cudgel is no strength, no bonus, no strike value, so it's a 3-point weapon. Staves are 4-point weapons because you get the +1 to the strength during the attack. Now, the cool thing about these is some of these give you ranged attacks, so it gives you some opportunities that are different from your normal wizard. So, Staff of Fire, very first one. The mage's staff issues a gout of flame at the enemy. Think flamethrower. Not quite, but you know. So it does 3 strike value 3 ranged fire attacks. Short range is 0 to 10. So long range is 0 to 20. It's only a 20-inch attack, and it's 20 points. So you can do some cool things, shooting that. But since you're shooting, you're not casting a spell. That's how it works. So, but it's an option. Could be a good one. Maybe you don't have any really good attack spells. This would be the way you attack until you have an opportunity to use your other spells. I have one character that I was running in a campaign. Still, at the time of recording this, she only had the Bamboozle Beastie spell. Well, if you don't have this is a campaign, so there's a storyline behind it. But if you don't have a beastie on the table, well, the spell's useless. At least this would, if I had this, would give her a way to attack. All right, Staff of Panic. Ooh. The mage's staff sends fear into the hearts of the opponent. Now, we all have Aura of Intimidity. We know Aura of Timidity. We do know about that spell. Well, this is a little different. Instead of casting the spell, which puts pins on a bunch of different units potentially, or multiple pins on one, or one pin on one on a bad roll, this basically gives the wizard the Baleful Glare special rule. So, again, you're attacking, so you're not casting a spell. So, using your accuracy, you take a Baleful Glare ability of attack, and you do pins on the unit, and then they may do a medium morale test. That's okay. Now, Baleful Glare is a 20-point ability, so this costs 20 points. You're basically, with this magic staff, you're giving your wizard the Baleful Glare a special rule. Hence 20 points. Very simple way to do it. Now, Staff of Lightning is the next one. Now, I like this one because I think I pictured casting this lightning in it. It's like chain lightning. It's forks to hit different things, or might fork. So, this magic staff discharges a forked bolt of lightning into its target. You don't get to choose the models that are hit by the attack. So in the lightning spell, you pick the model. This is not the same. This is just a magical attack. So it's like a shooting attack. So you don't pick. Your opponent does the picking. And it does D3 strike value 3 attacks. Short range is 10, long range is 20. But it also inflicts an additional D3 pins, and the target takes an immediate morale test. So this is a real big, powerful staff. It costs 30 points. So it's not the same as having Baleful Glare, but even though it is the effect. But it's kind of like having Chain Lightning, the lightning spell, because when you look at the lightning spell itself, where are my sheets? I've got them somewhere here. Here it is, too many papers. When you look at the lightning bolt spell, it does D3, it is a strike value D3 plus the magic level, 1 hit. So this one is only strike value 3, no extras based on magic level. But it does D3 hits, because again, chain lightning. But here, in lightning bolt, it has to take an immediate morale test. Just like here, it does take immediate morale test. Now, you do get the additional D3 pins, so it could really scare them off. But that's why it's 30 points. So magic users now can use staves. if they can normally take staves, it's even better. So let's take a look at magic items that aren't weapons. These are cool. Well, I think they're cool. Maybe they're not. Let's start with the armor, because again, there's a couple pieces of armor here, and one actually is armor. behaves like armor. So what instead of just being a bonus to res, I call this the armor of resilience. Essentially, these are enchanted armors that make it harder to hit you. Not just they preserve you better. So they're not just stronger, better armor than armor like D&D has a magic armor that's improves its armor class by so much. This gives the wearer +1 tough. Now, +1 tough is okay when you have a warlord that has 2 tough and you give him 1 more. Well, what if he's only hit once or twice? You don't really get the benefit of that additional tough. It's when you're hit by a volley of 10 arrows. That's when this toughness might come into play. So it's not that great, but it's not that bad. It's 10 points. Because what? Tough costs 10 points. So you see how easy it is to cost out some of these special magic items? It's really just a special rule added to your model. Okay. All right. Well, here's some other fun ones. Again, I think they're fun. Now the thing here with these magic items, they can be taken instead of a magic weapon. Okay, you're not limited to you can't have the magic weapon and one of these. It's one or the other. Figure it's stacking. I'm just worried that you'll make one model too OP. So you can still have normal weapons, all of your normal weapons, because these aren't magical weapons. Even the armor here, it's just you can keep all your major weapons. They only affect the model that has it, not the entire unit, and you'll see that's going to make some of these pretty limiting. So let's start with the Helm of Bravery. It's a finely crafted helm that holds the enchantment, stealing the hearts of the warrior and his immediate companions. So even though this is on the bearer, it does affect the bearer's unit and gives that unit the stubborn special rule. Again, since and it's limited to only the warlord or hero. You can't put this on your mage. Since it's basically giving the stubborn special rule to a unit, it's 10 points, just like Rick Priestley's rubric. Now the Ring or Amulet of Vitality. This item wards off the worst injuries, granting the wearer a second chance at survival. So essentially it's a +1 wound. Now, I put a point value of 20 because if you have your max, res of 9, a mounted knight, for example, with heavy armor is a 9. Well, normally a wound would cost 18. Well, this is magical, so this is 20. So if you're already maxed out with your 3 wounds on like the champion that's mounted, that's a lot of points. That's 18. You've spent that a couple times. To go 1 more, well, it's going to cost you 20 now. All right, the Circlet of Courage. Think of the circlet you wear on your head like in Skyrim. Many wizards have created varying ways that bolster their courage, the courage of their patrons or themselves. Basically, it gives the bearer the haughty disdain rule. So it's going to just be the bearer. So the bearer is going to give him. If he's part of a unit, obviously the whole unit gets it. So it's 10 points, just like the haughty disdain rule. Ring of Levitation. Now this one, it's only the bearer. So unless the other members of the unit have the spirit rule, you can't use this. So the champion can take advantage of this, or wizards that only have spirits can take advantage of this. No apprentices. So, man has long wished to fly, and some mages have made it possible to enchant items to provide the ability with that ability. Essentially, it gives the model, the unit, the fly special rule. 10 points, just like out of Rick Priestley's rubric. Boots of Speed. I like this one. Some dream of running like the wind, and these boots give the bearer the fast special rule. Now, I made it fast 8 for 10 points. Now, the fast special rule at 8 would cost essentially 6 points. For every 1 inch over 5 that you're giving this the unit this ability, it costs 2 points. So a fast 8, unit is, or model is 6 points more expensive. Well, this, we're calling it 10. Again, using Rick's approach to his own magic weapons. Now, the bearer may not have any other models in the unit with the exception of those with the spirit rule. Again, the reason I said that and leave it that way is the Wraith on horseback gets spirits, but the spirits don't normally have the fast special rule. They do there. So, well, we'll just make it a possibility here. So those are my magic items. Let me know what you think below. Did you come up with any of your own? Let's share down below. Who knows, we could use these ideas to make more magic items for the rest of our games, and let's all have more fun with our game. Alright, see you guys later. Thanks for sticking with me. Share, like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.